Hello, online students, I hope you can hear me. Okay, good afternoon everyone. How are you guys doing? Good? Okay, so we'll continue with our ethics discussion. So in the previous class, we understood the syllabus, or we just went through the syllabus, okay, and then we started with discussing some of the terms. Okay, so these terms we will repeatedly go through it again and again. Okay, so they will get familiar to you guys over a period of time. All right, so we have now started with, we have discussed what is ethics, what is morality. Yes, so ethics is everything to do with trying to distinguish right from wrong. Okay, so human performs various acts, and these acts can be evaluated from whether it is good or whether it is wrong. Now, how do we evaluate the various theories? Okay, should we have fixed norms to judge somebody's action, or should we give it up to the context in which they are acting? See, for example, lying, okay, right or wrong, it's very subjective again. Okay, some say that lying irrespective of context, okay, is wrong. Some say lying within the context, we need to look at it from the contextual point of view. Okay, if lying to help somebody, okay, to save your life or something like that, then we need to say that it is okay. So contextually also we need to look into it. So it's very subjective. So therefore we need to apply various theories, etc., to do that. So over a period of time, we will try and get more familiar with the theoretical aspect, the philosophical aspects, etc. All right. So we are just trying to get familiar with terms still. Is that okay? So first, what we discussed yesterday was belief, right? So what is belief? Something which we consider to be truthful. Even though if we don't have the facts, if we have facts, we believe it is true. Even without facts, if we consider something to be truthful, etc., that is your belief. Is that okay? So the internal feeling that something is true. Okay, it could be because of our experience, because some leader told us, or somebody whom we value told us, our parents telling that do this, everything will be fine. We believe that it is true. Right, so that is a belief system. Or we may go through an experience. Okay, we might be doing wheeling in our bike and we fell down. So then we start believing that if I drive rashly, I will injure myself. So we start to believe like that. Yes or no? So belief is that. Is that clear? So this can be with experience, without knowledge, anything. So if we consider it to be true for various reasons, that is called as belief. Right. Next is values. What is values? Something which we consider it to be important. We, or even an organization or an institution, anything, if they consider it to be important, that is called as values. I can value hard work, I can value truth, I can value honesty, etc. So they are values. Something which a group, which individuals, which communities, society, religion consider it to be of importance. As I compared Indian society with that of American society, Indian society value family system, okay, or American society, they don't value family system, they may value individualism. In Indian society, the entire life a person may be subjugated by his family system or society, etc. But he will say that that is ethical in life, that is important in life. I will listen to my parents all my life, no matter what, in Indian society. Okay, but in Western society or in American society, that is not considered valuable. What is considered valuable? Individualism, freedom. Right? If people are aspiring for individualism in India, then they are considered to be wrong. So value system varies. So what is considered valuable? So it is again, it varies from society to society. Yes or no? Okay, next is your attitude. So when these values are prescribed, okay, in practice, they are told to you, they become norms. Yes or no? So norms in our, what are the social norms? You might have heard. What is Indian social norms? Hindu norms, Islamic, they will have certain value system, and that will be prescribed in your practice. That is your norms. And ideals, okay, or even virtues. These are the highest level of value one wants to achieve. Yes or no? Is that understood? So, the philosophical aspect is values, its practical application is norms. Agreed all of you? Yes, so it's there in your notes. Even if you forget today, tomorrow when you read, it should all be clear to you. Is that okay? See, it is obviously very, volatile. It will evaporate from your head. That's why notes will come into picture. If you have 3-4 textbooks, it will get very confusing after 3 months, 4 months. But if you have one single notes from several sources, when you revise it, it becomes very easy. That's why I am telling you that over here notes becomes important. In some places notes may not be important. Here, because you have so many conflicting definitions and ideas, that if you have one proper, it gives you that kind of safe, a kind of a support system, right? Then we discussed what is attitude. Okay, so based on the belief and based on the values, when you have certain psychological tendency towards something, that is the attitude. Yes, so if you believe that I am good person, okay, if you have experienced that I have done good things, okay, and if you value somebody coming on time, somebody who is teaching, somebody whatever, then see, you have always been inculcated a value that you have to respect your teacher. So that value is there in you, okay, and you believe, okay, because some topper must have told I am good person. Is that okay? So that has shaped the attitude towards me. So you have love, affection, respect towards me. Okay, but if I am a wrong person, if I have done something bad, if I have cheated you in your previous class, so that means you will have negative attitude towards me. So it's a psychological tendency that is, towards an unit, entity, experience, whatever, that is attitude. All of this is expressed in the form of behavior. Yes, that's what we have discussed in the previous class. So when we act on these psychological predisposition, that is behavior, a response to a stimuli, the way we act. You have written this down? Yes. So it is influenced again by culture, attitude, emotion, value, etc., etc. Have you written this down? No. Okay. So therefore, what I was trying to tell you yesterday was your attitude will in turn shape your behavior. So behavior is what? The way you act, right? You respond to a particular stimuli exhibited by humans. So I have now started a course on ethics. Because you have a particular attitude towards me, you have decided to attend this class. So that is your behavior, your action, okay, towards this whole event. Okay, so it is the way we act. It is influenced by culture, attitude, emotions, values, ethics, authority, persuasion, coercion, genetics, whatever, everything. So that is a general understanding of what is your behavior. Okay, so it is greatly, however, shaped by your attitude, your day-to-day person. So you can write down this. Okay, so the next heading is human behavior. See, why we are coming to human behavior? Okay, one, to understand ethics. Ethics is judging human behavior from whether it is right or whether it is wrong. Correct? No. So that is why or what is ethics. One more place we will be studying persuasion. Okay, where there is a concept called as persuasion, communication, where we are trying to change people's behavior. Okay, that's also there in the syllabus. So therefore, then also we need to be clear with this idea. Okay, so it is shaped by the attitude. So if you like somebody, you will behave accordingly. If you dislike somebody, you will behave like that. So expression of favor and disfavor. Okay, so based on our evaluation, so we might behave positively, we may behave negatively. Okay. Is that okay, guys? Any doubt so far? Yes, so human behavior based on the attitude, mainly attitude shapes. Other than that, you have other things also that shapes human behavior. Now, this human behavior within a particular context is subjected to moral scrutiny. See, this picture shows you all. So, you can draw this or write something like this in a box. So, values, okay, beliefs, these two will in turn shape attitude. Attitude will result in behavior. Okay. So, the way we behave depends upon the attitude. We may have positive attitude towards something, or we may evaluate it negatively. This in turn is going to shape our behavior, the way we act, and we need to put this context, okay, into this diagram. So, context can be the person doing it, the person involved, the time, the place, etc. So, that is the contextual, okay, and certain restrictions, constraints, limitations. Constraints means limitations. Sometimes you don't want to do something. See, for example, what this constraint or context comes into picture. See, for example, okay, so you believe in enjoying life, freedom, independence, okay, want to just travel the world, okay, you believe that traveling the world is the most important thing in your life, okay, you believe that also, okay, so your attitude towards life will be, I want to give up everything and I want to pack my bags and I want to travel the world. That will be your attitude towards life. But the reality is that you need money, okay, to survive, to travel, or commitments towards your family, etc. So, that will prevent you from behaving. So, not always all attitudes will be translated or it will become behavior. So, therefore, that contextual and constraints comes into picture also. Is that okay? So, that's where this also comes into picture. Now, all of this is subjected to moral scrutiny, whether it is right or whether it is wrong. Now, that is what is ethics. So, we scrutinize everything, okay, on the basis of whether it is good or bad. See, now you might say, oh, values, how can it be wrong? Yes, values can be good or bad also. As I told you in the previous class, caste system was considered or is still considered by many to be very important in their life. If you get married outside the caste, you have seen elders or somebody who is very orthodox, they will resist because they say caste is the most valuable entity in our life. You should not corrupt it. Yes or no? Religion or whatever. So, like that, religious sanctioned, value systems, which may not always be good. Practice of sati, sanctioned by religion. Triple talaq, sanctioned by religion. Child marriage, caste system, untouchability. These are all values only. So, values need not be always moral. Are you understanding when I am saying this? Values need not always be moral. They could be wrong also. It is contextual. It is in terms of time. What was considered valuable at one point of time need not be valuable today. See, for example, color segregation which was there in America. In the Constitution itself, color segregation, racial segregation was there. It was considered valuable then, but today it is not. Yes, colonialism, white man's burden was considered to be their responsibility. They were doing good by colonizing India. That's what they believed. So, their attitude was to civilize us. Yes, attitude was towards, and how was their behavior? Yes, they prevented our freedom, etc. They converted us, they prevented expression of our freedom, etc. That was a behavior. So, can we subject it to ethical scrutiny? Yes. Okay, so ethics and morals. Now, we have to understand these two words. Whether it is ethical, whether it is moral. Now, again, it is so subjective. We will come to that because different people talks about it differently. That's what we need to understand and all of that. We will try to organize it. It's very haphazard if we consider it this way. So we are still going through the terms. You understood all of this? Now ethics is what? Again repeating what we had discussed yesterday, Ethics is what? So these are principles or guidelines that governs the conduct of individual or group within a particular profession, organization or society. So it tells us what to do. It evaluates our actions from whether it is right or wrong. And what is morality? So again it is also same, evaluating something which is good or bad. Okay, morality or moral principles. See, so therefore ethics and morality are same. Is that okay? Both deal with right and wrong conduct. When we say something is ethical, what are we saying? That the conduct is correct, good. If we say somebody's actions are moral, it means they are good. Same way it is unethical means it is wrong. Immoral means it is wrong. So both are to do with right and wrong, degree of rightness or wrongness. They set standards, ethical principles, code of conduct or moral principles. When we say, they are standards that we need to follow or principles that we need to follow or inculcate in our actions. I am telling the same thing in different ways, that's all, but it's all talking about this. Also it can prescribe also. Okay, it may be the standards or it may be prescriptive, telling you that do this. Be honest if I say, right? That is what it is trying to say. Now are they different? Okay, so we can also see that to a certain degree they are different. Meaning, okay, let me give an example and then go to the difference. See, for example, okay, doctors, okay, let's say a rapist, okay, a murderer, okay, has met with an accident, okay, and he is brought to the emergency room. He is brought into the emergency room. So the doctor is there in the emergency room. What is the doctor supposed to do? Okay, so he is supposed to save him. Why? Because the code of conduct or code of ethics of the doctor says no matter what, the patient has to be treated. So code of ethics says he has to do, but his morality, inside he is like, no, I should not save this person. But his code of ethics says that he should save that person. That is what the difference is. Ethics is external, whereas morality is internal. And it is much more general, ethics is very specific. Let's say this same person, after he is treated, okay, he is sent in front of a judge. The judge feels that this person is anti-social element and he has done the gravest of crime and will give him death sentence. On one hand, one person saved him. On the other hand, the other person is giving him death sentence. Who is wrong here? Nobody is wrong. Both are ethical. One saved that person because he is a doctor and his code of ethics says save him. The judge, his code of ethics doesn't say, his code of ethics says he has to be, he should ensure justice, he should ensure rule of law and other things. So has the judge done right, or is the judge ethical in killing that person? When I am using that word, killing is too extreme, capital punishment, killing that person. Is the doctor right ethically while saving that person? Yes. So now did you see ethics, it varies. Ethics varies in one context to another, okay, but morality remains the same with respect to the individual. The doctor will hate him today also, will hate him tomorrow also. Morality doesn't change from individual to individual in terms of context, but ethics will change. If he is a doctor, it will be different. If he is a judge, he will be different. If he is something else, he will be different, like that. You got that picture? Little bit difference, that's all, but both are to do with right and wrong. Now let's see the difference. So with that understanding, see a lawyer, his code of ethics will say save that person. I mean like Kasab or any murderer or anybody who is defended by lawyer, is he immoral? So there it is, he is acting according to his professional code, which says that every person has the right to be represented as a judge, I mean in the judicial legal system. Did you understand? So that is what is a little bit different between morality and ethics. Morality mainly is from within, okay, what we feel whether it is right or wrong. Okay, ethics is mainly external. Okay, I'll just discuss this and then together we will write it. Okay, very quickly I will listen. So ethics is more specific, like doctor's code of ethics, civil service code of ethics, etc. Whereas moral is much more broader. They don't deal with specific events. See, lawyer, when he is wearing that black coat, he has to act like that. So it's very specific. Morality is, for me, my entire life, day to day, from morning to evening, everything is is dealt under morality. It's much more broader and general in nature, very general. Now, social system of framework for accepted behavior. So here it is individuals, ideals and principle. How things should work according to one's individual ideals and principles. These are series of rules or norms provided by external source. Did you understand? It's from the external source, whereas moral source is individual or internal. It is less formalized and it is more ingrained in us. It's like a feeling, it's like a belief. It's more internal. It's not external. It's not clear cut. Is that okay? Code of ethics is more clear cut, whereas morals are not very clear cut. Okay. Then ethics are rules of conduct recognized with respect to a particular class of humans or a particular group or culture. Whereas here we recognize them because we believe that something is right or wrong. It's not confined to any particular class. If we do not follow it, see, when we don't follow ethics, they may be punished because its source is external. But morality, if we don't abide by morality, we will be disturbed from within. Nobody will punish us, but we will feel bad. Like a lawyer, okay, when he defends this criminal, okay, there will be no punishment as such, but morally he will be like, oh my God, what did I do? Did I do right? There is some kind of a remorse. Do you not understand? So if we don't follow these standards, it may have different effect for different people. They may feel uncomfortable, remorse, depressed, etc. Okay. Then ethics are very consistent within certain context, but vary greatly between context. But an individual moral code is usually the same. Whether he is in this classroom, whether he is on the streets, whether he is in his profession, it's going to be the same. But morality also can change. In his lifetime, it will change. Did you understand? See, you might have a particular moral values today, okay, but if somebody inspires you or somebody brainwashes you, your morality will change. But it will not change in context. Did you understand that little bit difference? Contextually, ethics will vary. Okay, when you wear the doctor's coat and you are in emergency room, your ethics will be that. When you are an officer, you are supposed to behave that way. Is that okay? You have to follow the professional ethical codes. Morality is not like, it's very general, it is very broad in nature. You inculcate in your day-to-day life and you live it. It doesn't change. Whether you are in cinema hall, whether you are driving a car, your moral values remains the same. Is that okay? But over here I have mentioned, but it individual changes if he changes his value system and belief system. You might have seen that, no? Suddenly somebody is very liberal, etc., gets inspired by some religious organization or some Baba or something, suddenly becomes very orthodox. So because of some influence, their values will change, their beliefs will change, their attitude will change. Thus, their morals also can change. Is that okay? Something, right? So that is ethics and morals to you guys. Okay. Right. We'll see. Okay. Just give the subheading. I mean, continue with the this one. Ethics. We'll just quickly write down again. Repeat it. It's okay. Ethics are set of principles. Ethics are set of principles or guidelines that govern the conduct of individuals or group within a particular profession within a particular profession, comma, organization or society. Next point, they are external standards. They are external standards, comma, provided by institutions, comma, group or culture to which an individual belongs. We recognize them because society says it is the right thing to do. Next point, it may be formalized through code of conduct, comma, professional standards or legal regulations. Okay. Next, give the heading morality. Morality can be defined as the differentiation of intentions, comma, decisions and actions between those that are good and those that are bad. Next point, evaluating human actions requires certain criterias, and these criterias are called as moral standards. Next point, morals define how things should work. According to individual ideals and principles. Next point, their source is individual or internal. Okay. Next line, give the heading ethics versus morals, or morals versus ethics. Okay. So you can write down these 4 points. Both relate to right and wrong. both relate to right and wrong. Okay, right and wrong conduct. This is also almost similar, conduct or behavior. Next point, these are standards on the basis of which one decides what is right and wrong. It prescribes what is and not considered appropriate behavior. All are almost talking about the same thing. Okay, so that is how it is same. Both are talking about right and wrong. Both are talking about standards which one has to follow in order to be good, and those things that has to be avoided. So they are prescriptive. They prescribe what is and is not considered appropriate behavior. Okay, the difference now, write it in table, difference between ethics and morals. Okay, right. Ethics and moral, you can write down these things. Ethics is more specific. See, then in some other class we are going to do rules and regulations, and then we will compare it with ethics. Is that okay? So that time I will tell you rules are more specific than ethics. Ethics are much more broader. Is that understood? So that time what we are trying to say is rules will tell you exactly what you are supposed to do, and rules need not always be ethical also. Sometimes, see, for example, there was rules that were made in America, okay, for racial segregation. Okay, that was a rule, that was a law. Is it ethical? Okay, so like that. So you have the difference between ethics, rules, laws in another chapter. I am just trying to give you an orientation of what in future also things will be. In this context between morals and ethics, morals are much more broader in nature. Okay, they are not very specifically applied to any particular profession, okay, etc. It is general and broad in nature, whereas ethics is much more specific. Code of ethics for civil servants. It is applicable to whom? To civil servants. Code of ethics for doctors. It is applicable to doctors. Whereas morals are much more broader, okay, in that sense. Being honest, okay, is a moral value that you need. So, see, you can say even being honest is ethical value also. It is true, okay, but when we are discussing and comparing, these ethics are much more specific. These are, you can write down a social system or a framework for acceptable behavior. Here morals are how things should work according to an individual's ideals and principle. So therefore, you can understand that ethics is much more from an external source. Okay, it could be the profession, it could be organization, it could be religion, it could be society that is telling you what is ethical and what is unethical. Morals, the source can be the same, but it is much more individual because it is based on your own values and your own belief that shapes your morality. See, in the same society, you can have people having different morals. Okay. Then, series of rules and norms provided by external source like the profession, society, religion. Okay. Their source is individual. Then, ethics are rules of conduct, okay, or behavior recognized in that particular class of humans. lawyers, doctors, civil servants, teachers, students. We recognize them because we believe something to be right or wrong. Okay. If we do not follow them, what will happen? We will face peer pressure, peer disapproval. Like when you disregard caste system, you will be considered wrong by your family members. Okay. So even though you feel that you are morally correct, okay, that's another example we will take. Intercaste love marriage, you run away from home. Okay. Your society will consider you to be unethical. What about your morals? Morally you will feel you are right. The society will say you are unethical by doing that, intercaste, interreligion marriage. Okay, leave that. Homosexuality, now you are all liberal. So let us go to the next stage of this homosexuality. Many still don't consider it to be ethical. Rules also say the same thing, correct? See, now that's the example. Homosexuality, still in so many areas. Supreme Court had to, the law says it is wrong. Law has not yet been amended. Supreme Court is there, which has now become little bit liberal after 70 years of our constitution. Then they are saying that, okay, fine, now we can think about it. You are understanding? So law, suicide for example. You know, there was a law which punished people who commit suicide. So if somebody tried to hang themselves, they failed in hanging themselves, the police will catch them and put in jail. But now we know that it is not correct. So things like that, it keeps changing. So ethics will be implemented through rules and law. Sometimes those rules keeps changing. Okay, that's the differences. Little bit you need to appreciate it. Okay, caste system, ethical, in current context in many society. Okay, your morals, you may be living in a very orthodox society, religious society where they say don't eat non-veg. Okay, so the religion is telling you that eating non-veg is unethical. Okay, but you believe otherwise because the source is internal. So you want to have KFC, that's your morality. Okay, you feel okay about it. So that's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say. But when something is moral and you don't follow it, what will happen? You will feel guilty, you will feel remorse, etc. Ethics are very consistent within a certain context, but can vary greatly between context. A person from Hindu society, he will have different ethics. A person in Muslim, Islamic family, they will have different ethics. But morality for that individual will remain consistent. An individual's moral code will usually remain unchanged and consistent across all contexts. Is that clear? Do you need any more examples? Okay, at the end you can write some example also, what we discussed, like a lawyer defending a case of murderer. Example, a lawyer defending a murderer. His morals tell that he is, his morals will say that the murderer should not be defended. Murderer or terrorist, okay, should not be defended. But his professional code of ethics says that everyone should be defended. That everyone should be defended. Same way tomorrow when you become police officers, let's say some of you get selected as DYSP. Okay, so then you catch hold of a murderer, a terrorist. Okay, your morals will tell you to do encounter. but your code of ethics will tell you arrest him and bringing him in front of the justice. That's another example. Write down. Police officer, okay, catch a terrorist, a corrupt or official or whatever. His moral says give punishment immediately. So when people listen to their morals and do this encounter, it's a reality of life. Na? So they are violating their ethics, but morally they are fine. So what happens when they do this encounter, fake encounters or whatever? They are punished. Yes or no? They are punished, external source. But if they don't do that encounter and then they put them in jail and then he will get bail and come out of jail, what will happen? He will feel guilty, remorse that he should have done something more. So, right? That's where it's very subjective and so knowing all of that will help you to have clear consciousness, and this will help you to do that. Okay. Yeah, one more example was that police officer, doctors, anything like that. So in current context, contemporary, another example you can write homosexuality as an example. Homosexuality, right? So morals and ethics. So there it becomes different. So you upholding love and accepting homosexuality is morals. But you being a part of a religious group or something like that may not allow you to accept homosexuality. Let's say you are a priest. Okay, so your morals will say love is love no matter what, and you may accept it. But you being a priest of a religious denomination, you might not be allowed to accept it. Yes or no? Is that okay, guys? Right? So many examples like this, there is conflict. So intercaste marriage and all of that, right, comes under this idea. Yes, please. Need not be. It may be for individuals also within that profession or a group. Is that okay? So later when we will classify ethics into specific ethics or professional ethics and general ethics. General ethics means it is applicable to everybody. Later I think it's there, if time permits we might be doing it today only. Okay, specific ethics are for specific profession or context, etc. So like that, ethics can be classified into groups like that. Is that okay? Fine. So we'll solve this question later. Okay, next is values and ethics, how they are similar and how they are different, etc. See, it is because, first let's try to understand. See, values will shape our behaviors and actions and attitude, etc. Right? So ethics and values, how do they or how are they related? All values are not ethical or moral. Okay. Only moral values are ethical. Can I say that? Yes, all values are not ethical. Is that okay? Only those which are moral, which are to do with good things, are ethical, or ethical values are same as ethics. Okay, not all values are. So as I told you in the so many examples, like practice of sati or caste system, no, all of you have applied for reservation, etc. Caste system. Is that okay? So all of us are living in this caste system. So caste system is an important value system of our society. We vote in the name of different caste, you can say that, yes or no? I mean, see, whatever theoretical, etc., but the reality is the caste dynamics, yes or no? This particular constituency, this caste is large in number, so the candidates will be that particular caste. I am not doing this, I am not saying this. The reality is that. That means what? People of that entire constituency value what? Caste over work. If that person is belonging to that caste, they will get vote. Let's say somebody else who belongs to some other caste has worked well, is honest, is achieved academically, etc., but he will not win the election. Why? Because in our society still we value caste. So caste is a value that is upheld by our society. But is it ethical to discriminate somebody on the basis of caste? You tell me. It is unethical. So therefore it is wrong. But honesty is a value. Another example, honesty is a value. Is it good to be honest? So it is ethical value. So that is what the relationship is. So ethics represents only moral values. Yes, moral values means those which are considered to be good. All values may not be ethical. Values can be moral, immoral, or amoral, neutral. Running. Okay, what is it good or bad? Now I am not talking from the physical point of view or exercise or health point of view, but from a ethical or moral point of view, running, is it good or bad? Running after snatching somebody's bag or chain, that is immoral, but just simply running is amoral. Okay, moral and immoral. Lying is immoral. Is that okay? So depending on whether it conforms to or goes against or is indifferent to certain norms or morality. Okay, so our values in turn determines, our values, so this is what it is. So this is one relationship. Second, so here what is moral values is ethical. Did you all understand this equation? Whatever is moral values, they are ethical. The other side to look at it is whatever the society considers to be valuable is considered to be ethical. This is the other dynamics of the equation. Okay, let me put it over here. See, whatever is moral value, whatever is considered to be moral, good, that is considered to be ethics. That's what I have told now. One more way to look at it, one more dynamics of this relationship is, okay, whatever we consider or whatever the society considers to be important, that becomes ethical. Let me give an example to show this. Okay, so like LGBT, homosexuality. Okay, homosexuality is considered in many society to be wrong. Why? Because it is considered to be of less value. That itself becomes ethical. So what I am trying to explain over here is that when values change, ethics also changes. When values change, ethics also changes. So it's quite a complex relationship. On one hand, whatever is good values is ethical. On the other hand, sometimes we can also look at it in such a way that what is valued by that particular society becomes ethical. Okay. So homosexuality or racial discrimination. So this was considered to be ethical at one point of time because the society considered white and blacks should not intermingle with each other. Therefore, it was considered racial differences to be correct, meaning it was considered to be ethical. Okay, so like that. So our values in turn influences our ethics also. So that's how we can differentiate the values and ethics. So we have discussed what is values. So you write down what we have discussed over here, then you will get clarity. Okay, ethics and values. You can give the heading ethics and values. ethics represents moral values. Ethics represents moral values. Next point. All values are not ethical. All values are not ethical. Values can be moral. Values can be moral, immoral, or amoral. Comma, depending on whether they conform to comma, go against or indifferent towards certain norms of morality. Indifferent towards certain norms of morality. Full stop. Our values will determine what we consider as ethical. For example, society which values achievement, hard work is considered moral, and being lazy is considered immoral, or unethical. Next point. So the other way around is, what is considered to be ethical in a society is something which we usually value also. Sometimes that also works like that, ulta. Something which is considered ethical in our society, we will value that. So our society considers that having a family system is ethical, we will inculcate those values within us also. You can write down that point also. Next point. We usually value those things which the society considers ethical. Thus both, next point, thus both influence each other to certain degree. Thus both influence each other to certain degree. See, our ethics says that we need to be honest. So we value somebody who is honest. Is that okay? Ethics says we should work hard. We should strive towards achievement. So whom do we value? We value somebody who is, right, hardworking and achievement oriented. Okay, so like that. So both the ways it is influencing each other. So that's the dynamics between the two. Now write the difference also to help us understand the meaning clearly. So write the difference, ethics and values. How are they different? So what is ethics? Ethics, it is principles or directions or prescriptions to tell us what is right and what is wrong. What are values? What we consider to be important. So it helps us in taking decisions. So if something is valuable, we will work towards it. Okay. So ethics means what? These are guidelines. These are standards. These are norms, whatever, however you write it, of conduct, for conduct, that addresses the question of morality. So ethics tells us you do these things, this is right. Whereas values are what? Again, principles, ideals, etc., which helps us to make judgment of what is more important. Okay, which is important is valuable or values. Okay, so these are systems of moral principles. These are just stimuli for our thinking. Values, okay, are stimuli for our thinking. What we think is valuable, so we will inculcate that in our actions, in our behavior, in our beliefs, etc. Okay, it is the consistency. Ethics is uniform. Uniform meaning within a context, within the profession, within the society, within the religion, whatever, it is uniform. Okay, but values, they may vary from person to person. But we can also say that most of the people in India will have same values. Why? Because their experience is same, so they will develop similar values. Within a family, two brothers, they will have same value system. Why? Because they might have been brought up by the same parents, experience, etc. They will develop same values. But at the same time, you might have also seen in the same family, two brothers might have different values. Alva? So some may be very aggressive, some may be very calm, some may be very litigant, the other person may be, very open-hearted. Like that you can have variations, that's what it is. But ethics is external, correct? No, we told you that it's external, so it's more clear cut, it doesn't vary. Okay, then tells what morally is correct and incorrect in a given situation. Whereas values, what we want to do or achieve, it doesn't talk about good or bad. So what we consider to be valuable, we will pursue that. It may not always be good. It may not always be good. Okay, so if you have bad values, okay, your actions may not be always correct. Okay, next, it determines what is right and what is wrong. Here it only tells us the degree of importance. Lastly, what it does, okay, constraint, meaning it prevents us from doing unethical things. Whereas values, it motivates us to achieve those things. So this motivates this constraint. Please understand each term. If you didn't, let me know, I will explain it with examples. See, constraint. So ethics tell you not to do wrong things. Is that okay? Don't lie, don't kill somebody, don't misbehave, etc. Whereas values, it tells you to do something to achieve those values, those goals. So that's how it is different. Is that okay, guys? Yes, morals, ethics, values, how they are same, different, etc. Is that okay? So just to recap, yes, ethics, morality and values. Did you all, are you able to appreciate? So all of them are separate chapters, or rather morality and ethics we study together. Values, okay, what are the values that should be inculcated in civil servants is a topic. Okay, so what are values? Compassion, okay, dedication to weaker section, accountability, transparency. These are all values that should be inculcated in civil servants. What is considered to be good? What is considered to be your ultimate motive? That's how you should act. Is that okay? So that is values. Okay. So these are all something. So values are principles which help us to make these judgments. So what we consider to be moral values are considered to be ethical. Yes or no? So values shape our belief system, shape our attitude, shape our behaviors. Okay. So if our values are good, moral, our attitude, intentions, decisions and behavior will also be good. Are you understanding? So if you have honesty as a value, yes, your behavior also will be more transparent. Yeah, you will strive towards accountability and all of that. Yes, so values will motivate you to do certain things. If you are an honest civil servant, you will be open about your work, you will be more transparent. So it will motivate you to do something. But if you have wrong values, if you think making money is important in life, let's say making money, many people believe so. Yes, some people enter service only to make money. Correct? No. So if that is the value that they think, yes, making money is the most important thing in my life, or having power is the most important thing in my life. So what do they value? They value power. So what will they do? It will motivate them to do what? Yes, corruption, or being close to politicians, being their chamchas. Correct? No. Is it ethical? No. So ethical is only to do with moral values. Are you understanding? So you might want to make money. For that you might have come to civil services. So that has the motive. But ethics is not all values. So if you put a Venn diagram, can we say values are this? Okay, in that sum which deals with moral values, that is ethics. Can we say that? Not all values are ethical. So you want to make money, that comes over here, which is unethical. Is that okay? So here ethics is constraint. So what is it telling you? Not to be corrupt, telling you not to do something. It is preventing you from doing something wrong in that context. So that's the difference here. Is that understood? So here is level of importance. You making money, next power, then service. For some people doing service may be at the top, then making money, then power. So it is the level of importance. Here it's nothing right or wrong. Is that okay? Right or wrong? What to do or achieve? Is that okay? Stimuli of thinking. I want to make money. What shall I do? Okay, this posting, good. I will make money here. So I will go, okay, get influence, invest money, then get transfer, get that posting, make money. So you will be constantly thinking, motivating yourself to do those things. Is it ethical? No. Ethics is to do with the right principles, following the rules, regulation, code of conduct, code of ethics, all these things, moral values, those things are ethical. So therefore following moral values is ethical. Did you all understand that? Following your moral values. Okay, so you have values. Yes, values, what we consider it to be important. Values can be moral values and immoral values. Moral values are ethics. Moral values are ethics. Is that understood? Now, why is ethics subjective? Because values themselves are subjective. At one point of time, practice of sati was considered to be very important. Therefore, it was considered moral for a woman to go and jump onto the fire of the husband. It was considered to be moral. Therefore, it was allowed in our society because it was considered ethical. Is that understood? So, this is the relationship. At the same time, we also said what we generally consider ethical will shape our value system also. Alva? So, we consider honesty. So, honesty is valued by us. We consider family system to be ethical. So, we value our parents and whatever they say. So, the relationship is both the ways. Morality, ethics, values. Understood all of you? You can write it. I mean, as such it may not be asked, but when they ask questions little bit, nowadays when they ask analysis based question, these little bit thin dimensions or differences you need to appreciate. Is that okay, guys? So, we have differentiated morals, values, ethics and everything. Is that okay? Okay, before we complete the terms, last few things, code of conduct and code of ethics. See, now ethics is very subjective, but we always attempt in order to bring objectivity to ethics by listing out a set of norms or the set principles. That is what is called as code of conduct and code of ethics. Later in our future chapter, this we will do it little bit more in detail. So, here there are two words. Code means listing out, correct? No, our constitution is codified. When we say it is codified, we have article 1, 2, 3. So, that it is listed. The norms are listed or the acts are listed. When we say code of conduct means it is a list of norms telling you how you should conduct yourself. Code of ethics is list of ethical values you should inculcate in your behavior or actions. Did I make sense of what I am saying? Code of ethics and code of conduct. So, which one is specific, which one is general when we compare these two? Code of conduct is specific because it is telling you do these. See, for example, civil services code of conduct will say don't steal stationeries from your office. That is code of conduct. Be on time. Don't be in debilitated state when you are in office. Those are the things. But code of ethics will not be very specific. It will tell you be honest, over. It will tell you be efficient. It will not tell you how to do it, etc. You have to, so this is to do more with values. Ethics is, which one is more generic? Code of ethics is generic. Code of conduct is very specific. It is listing out. So, if I see, put a list over here. So, code of conduct is set of rules. Okay, you should come at 10 o'clock. You should go to lunch at 2 o'clock. Come back within half an hour. Okay, you should wear this kind of clothes, etc., etc. But code of ethics is more generic in nature. For example, be neutral. What is neutral? Be fair, be honest. Okay, be fair, be honest, be independent, be accountable. Okay, be transparent. What is transparency? That is not mentioned, but the rules will mention it. That you should disclose your assets and liability annually. That's a rule. That's a code of conduct. That is code of conduct. Code of ethics is general principles, okay, which is general principles like DPSP. DPSP is code of ethics kind of a thing for our parliamentarians and executive. It's generic in nature. Okay, ensure equality, like preamble, equality, justice, secularism. What it means, nobody is talking about it. Whereas the rules will contain it in much more detail. Okay, so code of conduct ethics can be either for individuals, it can be for organizations, etc., in order to have ethical standards. So these are set of principles and codes to achieve the goals and aspirations. So code of ethics is much more broader concept. It lays down guiding principles and visions of the organization, whereas code of conduct is very specific set of clear-cut instructions that one should follow in their behavior, in their conduct. Clear-cut it is. Okay, please write down this. This also we will discuss in more detail later, but be aware. So because when we are talking about so many other things later, you will come across these words. Okay, write down these. Okay. So these are the various terms relating to our first. So some examples you can just add there. We will do this little bit in detail. Code of ethics and conduct. For now, just write it down. Okay. Code of ethics, some examples. Okay, done. So code of ethics example, be neutral, be responsible. You don't have to write everything also. If we'll do it later, you can just skim through it. Set of rules for a profession. Here I have just taken few from the civil services code of conduct, from our IAS code of conduct. From that I have taken it. No member of the service shall canvass or otherwise interfere with or take part in election. No member of service shall in public media criticize current or recent policies of central government or state government. No service member shall engage directly or indirectly in any trade and business. What is these conduct? What are these actions trying to achieve? Which principle? Neutrality, autonomy, independence, impartiality. Did you get it? This is very specific, telling you don't do this. So in our society or in our service, we have code of conduct. Code of ethics is not enforced, or rather it is there, but it is not, there is no clear-cut enforcement. If you violate these rules, then it is punishable because it is listed. So no member shall canvass or otherwise interfere or take part in an election. But after election going and that nobody is talking about it. You understood? Going and giving bouquet. Okay, our previous chief minister's house was near my house. They're all, when they, every morning when I used to travel, all IAS, IPS would be standing with bouquet. Is that okay? Is there any specific code of conduct saying that you are not supposed to give bouquet early in the morning, 6 o'clock, go stand in the queue and give them? Is there anything like that? No. So are they violating code of conduct? But code of ethics is not clear, or it is not enforced, or it is not there, because we don't give importance to ethics. So now introducing ethics paper is the first step. So you have to be neutral. Hey, no matter what, I am not going to go because my code of ethics says I should not go. That should be inculcated in them. So being, where is it? Being neutral. If you are neutral, you will not go stand with the bouquet there. You get the difference? Yes. So there when we do that chapter, code of conduct, code of ethics, we will see. It's better, most people will implement this in civil services, because it is clear cut and you should know. So nobody will go to canvas, but after elections, they will all go stand in this one. So that's the difference between code of conduct and code of ethics. Is that okay, guys? Right. Any doubt? So that completes all the terms that we wanted to discuss, just to get familiar with our chapters in the future. So lot of things we should be discussing it in much more detail. So we'll start with our first chapter, that is ethics. Is that okay? So values itself is another chapter. Okay, foundational values for civil services. If you see, one chapter is there. So values like empathy, sympathy, compassion, dedication to weaker sex, these are all values which we have to elaborate and discuss, and types and other things. So first we will start with ethics. Okay, so what is ethics and all of that? We have already discussed this. Very quickly we'll run. So start with a fresh page. Okay, give the heading ethics and interface, human interface. Give the heading. Online students, those who are attending, I hope you are clear. So whatever we discussed yesterday and today's class so far has been to understand very basic terms with respect to our section on ethics, or GS4 mail, some of the important terms. Okay, so now we understood what is ethics, values, morality, how are they same, how are they different. Morals and ethics both are same, because both are to do with right and wrong, but we understood ethics is more external and your morals are more internal. Now when we compare ethics with code of conduct or rules, rules are much more specific than ethics. So there it is different now. Ethics is more general, rules and code of conduct is very specific. But when compared to morals, morals are general, ethics is specific. See, you are getting it, okay, but don't get confused. You should be able to understand. Morals are more internal. They are very general. My moral values or morality will remain the same as a teacher, as a student, as a officer, whatever. Okay, but ethics will vary. My professional ethics will be different. My social ethics will be different. Okay, they vary from context to context. Code of conduct, code of ethics, values. So how are values different? Not all values are good, that you have now got clarity. Only those which are to do with moral values are good or ethical. Ethics are shaped by values, I told you that also. So sometimes values change in a society in time. Ethics also does change in times. They are not static or rigid. They are subjective because it varies from context to context. So Ange, it's nice, interesting, challenging. If it is difficult, try and learn a little bit more. Make it easier with examples. Okay, it's nice, interesting, because it is something which we have to inculcate in our life, follow it, we see, okay, and all of that is what we do. Okay, so now we will start with the first chapter, that is ethics and human interface. So here basically what we are going to study, what is ethics. Okay, we will try to understand the determinants of ethics. Okay, we will try to understand the different components of ethics. We will try and give, or I will introduce you to some of the theories, okay, to evaluate somebody's conduct. Okay, so different theories will evaluate it differently. Is that okay? So some says one has to adhere to universal moral principles. Some say that no, there is no moral universal principles, they are more contextual. So like that we have so many different theories. I'll just very quickly put up those things just to give you an understanding as to what all we will be looking at. Okay, see for example, ethical standards and we'll come to this later. See for example, Epicureanism. So it is again these are all philosophy, or these are all ideas about what is ethics. Ethics is to do with right thing, but what is right? Alva, what is right? See for example, how many of you support capital punishment? Raise your hands. Capital punishment, death sentence. How many of you support it? I mean, raise, it's okay, nobody will bite you. Okay, so that means 5 of you agree to it. That means the others don't agree to it. Whatever is the reason, whatever is your reason. So that means there is difference of opinion as to what is ethical, and you believe that you did not raise your hands, meaning that you consider it to be unethical to kill somebody, even if it is judicial. They call capital punishment as judicial killing, correct? No? When who was that? Not Kasab, yeah. Afzal Guru, no? Yeah, Afzal. So judicial killing, right? Afzal Guru, yeah. So judicial killing was the statement. Then it was created a lot of controversy. Alva. So that kind of an attitude. So it can vary, na? Why? Because what kind of principles are you going to use? If you, those who raised their hands without your knowledge, you basically believe in, why did you raise your hands? You did not know, but the reason you raised is because you believe in utilitarianism. All of you who raised your hands, you raised it because by killing one person, you are benefiting the society. One person's death is okay because majority of the people in the society will be safe, in the sense deterrent. It will act as a deterrent. The others who did not raise your hands, you believe that he should not be killed because society should reform him, integrate it back, because you believe here. That is your theory. You understood? So it can vary from individual to individual. So now we will try to bring a system to that understanding. You all know it, you all apply it in your life. We now have to organize those thoughts because they will be asked. See, remember we discussed one previous year question on utilitarianism. Explain ethics from utilitarian point of view. Is that understood? Same way, explain it from Epicureanism. It says that you pursue self-happiness. There is one more, Stoicism. Okay, so Stoicism, I mean, your parents and all will be telling if some failure happens, don't worry, absorb it, it's life, part of life, learn to live with it. Correct? Now when you face some problem, elders will tell you, you should not worry about all those. You know, you should live with it. This is life. Jeevanane hinge. Correct? Have you heard that somewhere or the other you might have, you know, sometimes when you did not succeed in something, that time you might have heard this. Jeevanane hinge, kashta padbeku. You know, all that. That is Stoicism, accepting the inherent order of universe. That means there are certain things that we are in control. There are certain things which is out of our control, which is controlled by the universe. Nobody, hanebara, yaro enu madakagalla. That is that. You understood? It's written. So if you believe in that, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, all that idea, you know, where we have no control over the outcome. That is this. So embracing whatever fate or circumstance may arise, that principle is Stoicism. Oh, that fellow is suffering on the road, he is begging. Stoicism will say what? We have no control over it, that is his fate. Okay, na? Materialism, pursuing material satisfaction, wealth and other things. Okay, so accumulation of wealth and material comfort, etc. There is that theory also. It is from Greek philosophy and all, where they say that it's okay to acquire. See, Hinduism is less materialistic, or Indian society is less materialistic, but it is okay to do that outside. Correct? No. So gold palaces, gold toilet, this one. If they do it over here, people will look that, you know, there's something wrong with you, or, you know, it is more. So humanism, as I told you, it believes in the inherent goodness of human race, wants human race to progress. Okay. Spiritualism, what is that? Spiritualism, whatever God says is right. Where is God says? It's written in our books. Is that okay? Holy books. Whatever is written in holy books, it is fine. Even if it says do that, do this, it's okay. That is correct. Don't eat this food if the book says, that is ethical. Agreed. Okay. So then you have utilitarianism, maximum. So for example, when US dropped nuclear bomb, it is still today considered to be ethical, or is it's considered to be very noble thing that US did. By doing that, they stopped World War II. Otherwise, the entire world would have got destroyed, is what they justify it through what? US goes and attacks another country to establish democracy in that country. Why? On what basis? Utilitarian. That you might have heard of this one. What is that? Collateral death. Death, collateral. Innocent people dying is called as collateral death. How can you justify it? Can you justify it by any other reasons? You can justify it through utilitarian. See, like for example, every religion says no innocent person should be killed. So if you are somebody who is spiritual, you will consider what I did was wrong. You understood? So every action should be judged through certain principles. And what is the source of these principles? These things. Is that okay? That's what we are going to study. Deontology says follow moral laws and duties. If it is saying your dharma is saying, your law is saying, duty is saying, do it. There's nothing wrong in it. Is that okay? You don't have to go and look under. Same way intuitionism. We have intuition saying that what is right and wrong. Like that, there are different ethical. This is what we will be doing in these. So I just quickly, address those things. Right. So very quickly we will just go through this. Ethics, again repeating. So what is ethics? It is derived from, just to give you an introduction, now that we are starting the first chapter, alright, we have already understood what is ethics. So ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos. Ethos means habit or way of behavior, way of living, etc. Ethics may mean a set of system or moral principles that one needs to inculcate, okay, and follow in their life in order to achieve what is right. It may also mean rules of conduct recognized in respect to a particular class of human activities or governing a particular group or culture. It regulates and directs human life. Is that clear, all of this? Any doubt? Okay. It gives right orientation to one's existence. So as I told you yesterday, ethics can be a theory. Okay, it's a subject, or it's a branch of philosophy which studies what is right and what is wrong. So as a theory, it's a branch of philosophy dealing with human conduct with respect to its rightness and wrongness. Right? It's a systematic study of human action. So what do we do in philosophy? We study human actions from whether it is right or whether it is wrong as a means of attaining ultimate happiness. Ethics as a practice, what is it? It is giving you direction. Yes, it is telling you what to do and what not to do, right? So it refers to what is good and what to do. It is a set of moral principles. It is a set of rules of conduct that one has to incorporate in their life. So ethics as a practice. Is that okay? So we'll just write down this 2-3 things and then we'll move on. Okay. So even though it is repeating, it is fine to do it. Okay. So what is ethics? You can write down. It is derived from the Greek word. It is derived from the Greek word ethos. It is derived from the Greek word ethos, which means way of living. Okay, which means way of living, character, habit, way of behavior, etc. Okay, give the subheading. These we have already written, so we'll just skip it. Ethics as theory, subheading, ethics as theory. It is a branch of philosophy. It is a branch of philosophy dealing with values, relating to human conduct, with respect to rightness, and wrongness of action, and goodness and badness of motives, and end. Next paragraph, that is it is a systematic study, of human action, from the point of view of their rightness, and wrongfulness, as means of attainment of ultimate happiness. Okay, next give the subheading, ethics as practice. You can write down this 3 points quickly. Is that okay, guys? Any doubt? Okay. So this is as practice. These all we have already discussed, just now we wrote it also. Series of rules and norms. Ethics is series of rules and norms that is prescribed by an external source. That external source can be anything. It can be religion, it can be your profession, it can be institution, it can be society. So it is prescribed by outside, right? A society, a social system, okay, regardless of one's own feeling, you are supposed to do it. Whatever you feel is different. What you are supposed to do is what is ethics. If we don't follow them, what do we do? What happens? Societal pressure will be there. You might be punished. You might be, ridiculed. Correct? No, right? They are consistent with certain context, but can vary from context to context. Professional ethics, it varies. Doctor's ethics will be different, and your lawyer's ethics will be different. This you have all written somewhere here or there. We'll skip this. All right. Okay. This also we discussed yesterday. So basically, ethics is to evaluate somebody's action from whether it is right or wrong. And I also told you yesterday that an action is evaluated if it is fulfilling three conditions of whether it is voluntary or not. What is that? One is you should have the knowledge of the consequence. Second is it should be voluntary in nature of action. That means it should not be coerced or forced. And the third one is free will. See, all these three are important. Free will, what is that? There should be options, and you should be aware of that. If there is no option, okay, aware of the available choices, then again it is not subjected to moral scrutiny. Is that understood? Okay. So over here, not just action, but also omission also can be a part of or subjected to moral scrutiny. Omission. So therefore, have you heard of this word, dereliction of duty? Have you heard of that? So what is dereliction of duty? When you had to do it, you didn't do it, then also it is unethical, and you will be punished for the same. In civil services, okay, you cannot say that, oh, I didn't do anything, but when you had to do and you didn't do, you are punishable. Is that okay? So you want to write anything, you can write. So in the beginning, when we started, you just see the yesterday's beginning class when we wrote down ethics. Ethics is a study of morality of human action. Is it there? You have all written it down, correct? No? Ethics is concerned with only people's deliberate action and not action done due to ignorance or involuntary. So when an action will be subjected to moral scrutiny, you have written it down? Yes, three conditions. Now knowledge of the outcome, the consequence. Second is voluntary nature, that is it should not be coerced or forced. What is the third one? Action of free will. If you want, there you add. It also includes not only direct action, but also act of omission. What is omission? When your duty was to do it and you had the knowledge that you had to do it and you did not do it, which led to this. So civil servants can be punished or they are considered unethical if they fail to do this. Add this one line in that part. So just a small note on impediments to listen. So when you are writing case studies, etc., these things are important. You can't write saying that no, I will not do anything. when you had to do it, that is also unethical. See, why these are important to understand is to write good case studies. You will get a, kind of, a situation or circumstance in the case study, okay, where you are expected to give your opinion. When you say, no, I am not going to do anything, that is this only, dereliction of your duty or omission. So that is not the correct answer. We may feel it is correct answer, but if you look at this, it is unethical. When you had to do something and when you run away from that, that is also dereliction. You have to take action. You can't be, so that's where we will put this into practice. That's where it becomes important. There I will stress on these points. Okay. So what are the impediments of human action when it will be not subjected to? Just a list. I will just one line we will write down on this. One is ignorance, right? So that's why children, mentally differentially abled individuals who are not able to process that information, who suffers from certain mental pathological state where they are not. I'll give one line for it. Just listen. Okay. Then passion, extreme passion like love, hatred, that removes. See, this is again theoretical. Somebody has told this. We are just listing it down. Extreme passion like love and hatred, it said that it removes away free will. Mother, okay, love towards the children may perform certain acts which may be subjected to scrutiny. So that time if it is because of passion, then it may not be. So self-defense, etc. That is fear. Correct? No. So they are not unethical. A woman is walking in the night under the metro, somebody came to attack, she tried to defend herself and then that person died. So that is fear. To protect themselves from violence, defending, etc. Habit also removes the voluntariness of it. Okay, so they say that even if it is out of habit, you are doing something repeatedly, it removes your consciousness over that act, it removes the willingness. And pathological state. Okay, so you can just write down next to that, impediments of human action. Maybe you can leave space for this, you can rewrite it, or if you want to, from the first page. Okay, impediments of human action. Impediments to human action. First one, ignorance. That is lack of knowledge. Ignorance, lack of knowledge. Next, passion. Dash, intense emotion. About something that is perceived as good or evil. Example, anger, love, etc. Here decision is based on intense feeling. Here decision is based on intense feeling. Rather than rational thoughts. Full stop. In such cases, removes freedom of will. Next, third one, fear. Fear. It destroys the person's freedom of choice. Destroying the voluntariness destroying voluntariness of that action. Voluntariness of that action. Next, fourth, violence. A person resisting an act of violence. A person resisting an act of violence. Next point, habit. Again, destroys voluntariness and all, you can add. Next, habit. Habit means an act which is repeatedly done. Habit means an act which is repeatedly done. And person can act easily and promptly, often without conscious thought, often without conscious thought or deliberation, or deliberation. Deliberation or deliberation. This too reduces voluntariness. This too reduces voluntariness. Next, pathological state. Pathological state dash physical or mental condition. Physical or mental condition that impairs cognitive function. That impairs cognitive, that is thinking, cognitive function, comma, decision making, comma, behavioral control. Example, amnesia, comma, dementia, or even substance abuse, or even substance abuse. Okay, so this is the impediments to human action, where the actions will not be subjected to ethical scrutiny. Okay. Right. So, whatever the definition we have discussed, what is trying to say is ethics is to do with evaluating or prescribing what is good and what we should avoid, which is wrong. Correct? No, that's what, whatever definition, the principles, etc. Now, philosophically, there are two approaches to evaluating this. I'll repeat again, philosophically there are two approaches. One which says that these ethical standards, ethical principles are possible, and the other which says it is not possible because ethical actions, ethical principles are very subjective and it varies from context to context, and we have to look at from the contextual point of view. So, there are two broad approaches towards ethics. One is called as objectivism or realism. Is that okay? The other one which is called as idealism or interpretativism or subjectivism. One who says, see, if you ask me, oh, can we do this? If I say that, no, we have to look into the context. One who says, no, these are the things, you stick by it, no matter what. There is moral values, universal values, etc. So, that is objectivism. Is that okay? So, all the reality is objective and exists. So, they say that ethics is objective. It is outside. It can be quantified. It can be prescribed. Whereas those who say that no, there is no real outside reality, everything is based on the contextual. Okay, so that is situational. So that gives rise to what we call it as teleological approach. The other one is called as deontological approach. Deontological approach says that there is moral universal values. Is that okay? So we'll end the discussion of today's class with this. We'll write down one answer. Okay, so we'll take it up from tomorrow. Is that okay? So that's why I have just given you introduction that how we will discuss these theories over here. Okay, so we'll just write down one question over here. Okay, so I have just given you this so that you will at least get the habit of writing, okay, in the prescribed manner. So we'll write down this question. So just take about 8 minutes and write down this. So even online students, you can try and attempt it. Okay. So what we have discussed, just try and attempt. See, every day if you try and write, okay, 1 or 2 questions every day, you will at least come out of your comfort zone, make mistakes, realize those mistakes, etc. Is that okay? So the question is, just write in your own words, okay, and then we can discuss it. What we have discussed. So for online students, you can write it in a sheet of paper. If you have a printer, you can just we have shared the handout that we are giving here. Okay, so you can just use it to get the same feel. How do you distinguish between ethics and morality? Substantiate your answer with this example. Substantiate your answer with examples. See, whatever you have understood, see, just go out there and write it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Is that okay? Just write it. You can just take the assistance of your book, but make sure you write it on your own. Whatever you have understood. How are they? So, what do you distinguish? So, very quickly I will give the structure. You can write it and then you can give it to me. Is that okay? Fine. The second question you can keep it for tomorrow. Okay, the second page you can keep it for tomorrow. We have not covered it. So how do you distinguish between ethics and morality? So define what is ethics and morality. So on 2 days for 4 hours we have been discussing this only. Ethics and morality. Now you should write it. Define or generally give an introduction. Ethics and morality both are to do with the blah blah blah. You should write. Okay, and then give examples. Don't stop at that. Examples are very important. You are asking me to give you examples so that you understand. Examiner also will better understand if you write examples. So write examples where ethics may you have to write examples. Okay, so what are these ethics and morality or moral? This one you will write examples, right and wrong. Code of conduct is one and all. So then you will write the difference. So what is ethics? What is morality? Okay, giving examples. Each line may I have given you examples. You write it like that. Is that okay? And conclusion may you can give that how both of them are influencing human actions to make us a better human being or improving the society or whatever from that positive point of view. How it is inspiring, influencing humans. So sitting in class for 1 hour 45 minutes is easy. Or 50 minutes. The last 5 minutes what you are going to write every day, that if you go through this 20-25 classes, you will be much better place. Okay, write down this, you can submit it. Online students also, you can WhatsApp it to your course coordinator. Okay, they will print it and give it to us and then we will evaluate and give it back to you. Okay, online students you can do that. So these 2 classes were streamed online on YouTube, okay, as demo class. For those who want to continue these classes, you can contact these numbers, okay, and you can join the module, all right, for online students, okay. Thank you guys. You can submit the paper, okay. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.